certain directors such as Denis Villeneuve, it may be a case that you do not like a lot of his movies because of pacing issues, such as his movies being slow or drag, but that does not mean there's not that one movie where he does things more right, which in his case is his French movie called Incendies. With Yorgos Lanthimos, it is the same case where I didn't like either of his first three movies. I saw from him called The Lobster, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and Poor Things, which I saw at the start of the year. Neither of those are movies I've given more than a 5 out of 10, because they are too strange, too boring, has to sense the mood, but are not backed by adequate entertainment. That's why it was a pleasant surprise to see this movie from Yorgos called Kinds of Kindess, which is just so much better, because he has kicked out his flaws from those other mentioned movies. To break it down, this is a highly creative movie with different, completely unrelated stories that never really get boring. In the first story, you see this man in an office that is under heavy social control from his boss, and he wants him to do a sick favor for him that really does not want to do. In the second story, you see this cop that gets back his wife from a deserted island, but it turns out it is not the same wife. Then in the third story, you see this crazy relationship where there are two people that try to find a woman that could wake the dead from the grave. All these stories are really entertaining and tasks, but I guess it helps having the same actors right on from Willem Dafoe to Hong Chow that does surprisingly good performances in this movie. It just gels very well together, and I also believe Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons actually does fine acts there. Two actors that I feel haven't impressed me like this before, but I guess it is down to how well Yorgos has brought together this movie, which in my opinion is his best so far. Although of course you may say that this movie is like three different movies into one. The movie really has a profound deep message within it because it is about social control and manipulation techniques. And I feel especially that Willem Dafoe oppresses in the first section when it comes to burying that message into the viewer's head. Where he wants Jesse Plemons, which then plays this guy in the office that does everything his boss says, but then one day, when he crosses him, he completely ghosts him all the way, leaving for Munich without him, and then he realizes that he has to kill this guy that Defoe wants him to die in a crash anyway, albeit by a different method, where he goes to the hospital to dump him after he is killed. But of course, also when Emma Stone serves a finger on a plate, that is also a form of manipulation technique. The same can even be said about Jesse Plemons trying to hurt himself to get sympathy from this woman, or Margaret Qualley, that plays the wife of Dafoe in the first section, and she tells Plemons to get the hell out of the house. What's also good with this movie is that compared to the other mentioned movies from Yorgos, it does not only have this dark sinister mood where you need to feel the suspense, it also backs that up by good scenes. When Plemons pushes for them to watch that porn movie, when Emma Stone hits Plemons with a baton going on crazy, or when, like I mentioned, Emma serves him a bloody finger. Those are all quite iconic, gruesome moments that supports this dark, sinister mood that can abort you in both The Killing of a Sacred Deer and in The Lobster. That's what Yorgos has certainly learned from that to build the scenes combined with that mood much better, much darker, and more intense. Because there's some twisted shit in this movie. Some scenes in black and white effectively used by other directors that also Yorgos uses to his advantage here. For instance, when Emma tells how she was held by dogs on an island, and while it is never explained how she came home as a doppelganger sort of person, it is still something that makes it iconic, because you don't see a lot of creativity in movies these days. And this goes in the opposite direction in that respect. In short, Yorgos does impress me more here with this movie, where solid people have tried to do what he does before, with three different movies within a movie. But I believe a lot of people don't necessarily does hold their interest through a long movie like that he does so well here. And that's why for me, it is a 7 out of 10, which is still a much higher rating than I had given all his other movies, which shows how he is on the right track.